So we've got this great new yarn called Flounce, and it's from KFI, and it's very soft, multicolored, and it has a real interesting construction. The difference with this yarn is that you don't knit it like this. You actually are going to pull it apart and open it up and work with it just from the top edge as you're knitting. And I'll show you how to do that in just a minute, but the result is this beautiful flouncy ruffled scarf. And I wanted to do a video on this because I don't think a lot of people are going to understand how to make this work. As you're knitting with the yarn, I'm using fairly large needles here. I'm using a size 13, and I would not recommend going smaller than that. As you're knitting with it, you're actually going to open up the yarn, and instead of wrapping the whole bit of yarn around the needle like you would normally do, you're going to unwrap it. It's a little bit tricky here. And you're going to take the tip of your right hand needle and poke it through a section of the yarn, come through and knit it off. Going to go through, and again, you don't, sometimes I come really far through with my needle, and I've had to push it backwards, back through, because you don't want to go that far. So I'm going to grab the yarn, and again, grab the yarn, it's definitely different than any other yarn I've ever worked with, but I think the result is worth it. And I think I only have about 10 stitches on here on a size 13. And I'll show you what you do at the end of the row. You can get into a rhythm with this. I haven't done it in a couple of days, and it shows. Definitely not going to set any speed records with this yarn. But I think in the end the result is worth it, and no one's going to think that you, oops, sometimes you can catch, there we go. So when you turn it around, you can actually grab these and open them up further. And it's a pretty fantastic looking piece. It's available in I think 10 colors, and have fun. It's worth it. The first few rows were very frustrating, and I almost threw in the towel, but I persisted, and I really am glad, and now my kids already have the orders in for multiples of these. So again, that is Flounce. And it does show you on the inside of the label, let me get my label that I've ripped open here, gives you a little bit of instruction on how to start that first row. One thing I have not figured out yet is it's not an end like any end you've seen before, so it's not really like you're going to weave that in. I think what I'm going to do is fold it over, and with some thread I'm going to stitch that closed and hide it under there.